Plaintiff Greg Manuel and his daughter Carmen say Carmen is still legally married to the defendant, and they have a 3-year-old son, but they're in the process of getting a divorce. Greg claims a few years ago the defendant became verbally abusive, and he's suing him today for kicking Carmen's car during a heated argument. Defendant Michael Bell says Carmen is a daddy's girl who always ran to her family whenever they had problems. Michael admits that he kicked Carmen's car, but claims it was only because she stayed out all night with her friends.
Let me hear your side.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to introduce my daughter, Carmen. Carmen is married to Mike, but they're in the middle of a divorce. They have known each other for 12 years. They got married about 4 years ago, and they have a 3-year-old son. When they told me that they were getting married, I was very happy for them. I've known Mike for a long time, and I have a lot of respect for Mike. Mike went to the military and served his country, and he came out of the military with a job that would provide for his family. So I was very happy about that. I've always had a lot of respect for him, and since I'm from a paramilitary organization, law enforcement, I spent 33 years in law enforcement and retired recently. I have a lot of respect for Mike and his service and everything. I also don't want to be in this position between my daughter and her husband, but I've told them a long time ago I don't want to interfere with marriages. I don't like doing that. I think that when a husband and a wife have something going on, they need to work it out by themselves.
Right. That's right.
But a couple of years ago, I started noticing some problems. I heard about the police being called to their house before. Carmen talked to me about some verbal abuse that was going on. So I felt it necessary, because of my background, to interfere. Mm-hmm. And I know when the police show up at your house, it's a very serious indication that you're having some problems with your marriage. So I had a discussion with Mike, very stern discussion with him. I laid out my expectations of him. I also told him what I expected and how I expected him to treat my daughter. I told him, now that he has a son, he should treat her just like he'd want his father to treat his mother. And so after that discussion, it didn't seem like they had any problems. Mm-hmm. Probably about a year or so later, they seemed to start drifting apart again. They separated for a while and then came back together. So when they did come back together, there was an incident that happened in September of last year. And that incident involved my daughter Carmen and Mike almost attacking her. And since
him almost attacking your daughter,
yes, sir,
after you've already spoken to him?
Yes, sir.
Tell me your side, son.
Well, Your Honor, I've known Carmen and her family a little bit over 12 years now. We do definitely have a beautiful 3-year-old son together. Greg, definitely outstanding individual among his community and his peers. I truly believe that, as a respectable man. But in this case, it's just, to me, Your Honor, this case is based on Carmen being a daddy's girl, if anything, because to me, it seems a lot of our arguments resulted in her running back to her family for every single thing. A husband and wife that should always consult each other and try to work it out, no matter having any other.
Did you ever hit her?
No, negative. Not at all, sir.
Why did the police come?
First time police came because I destroyed a table, actually. I flipped the table over.
You became violent.
I became violent.
And what was the other incident?
The other incident was actually kicking in the door of a car.
Did you do that?
I did, Your Honor, and that's something I hold myself accountable for.
Well, it's not too bright to engage in violence against anyone's daughter, including mine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
He gave you a warning. My daughter called me and telling me you're jumping on her, you don't get a warning. Go ahead, sir. What else you want to tell me?
The incident happened Friday, incident leading to it. It started on Friday night. She went out with a friend. We agreed that she would want to go out with a friend, and I accordingly let her go as well. We agreed to that. But she knew that I had a fishing trip the following day at 5:30 a.m. I had to be there at 5:30 a.m. and I stayed home with my son, knowing that she'll be home, within reasonable hours of what a married woman should be. Mm-hmm. 2:30 came around, which are normal closing hours for most clubs in California. 3:30 came around. 4:30 came around. I had to make the decision to cut off my fishing trip that I had planned 3 weeks previously, which I didn't want to do because I had a lot of people came together to make this fishing trip happen. And I didn't hear or see her till the next following day, which was the 20th of September, which at this time I was worried, upset.
What'd she tell you when you saw her?
She didn't say anything, Your Honor.
She didn't respond to your questions?
She didn't respond.
To this day, you haven't been given any excuse yet.
The excuse I've had was her cell phone died. I reached her cell phone. I called it numerous times. Called her friend's cell phone. Both were.
But did she say
dead.
what she was doing and where she was until 5 a.m.?
All I knew she was going to the nightclub with her friend, and.
All right, good enough. You want to respond at all?
Yes, Your Honor. First off, hi.
Hi.
I gave him a disclosure before I went out with my friend. I told him that I was going to go out because I never get to go out with my friends, and that if I got tired, I was going to be just like him, and my phone might die, but I would be at my friend's house sleeping over there because it wasn't smart of me to be driving home.
What do you mean, just like him?
Well, I like to give freedom in a relationship, and I let him go out with his friends all the time.
And he spends the night?
He spends the night there, or his phone will die, or his friends' phones will die, you know, conveniently.
She was just returning the favor?
Yes.
Your Honor.
All right. She said you stayed out and your phone died, so she stayed out and her phone died. So whatever you were doing when you stayed out all night and your phone died, that's exactly what she was doing.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
In my defense, we didn't have a 3-year-old son at the time, or 2-year-old son at the time.
Whatever it was, you did it. Same thing. Young lady, you described to me what happened on the day and time in question that caused the car damage.
Okay. My friend, the one I went out with, we came back, we gathered a few things from my apartment, and then we left and got inside of the car. Mike followed us out to the car and said, we need to talk. And I said, I'll talk to you when I get home. And he said, no, we need to talk right now. And I said, no, I will talk to you when I get home. So he reached inside of the car and saw a Visa gift card that I had sitting in the car door. And he holds it up and he says, what is this, your little spending money? Now, I said no, even though it was. I lied because I didn't want him to take it from me. So I said no, and he threw it back at me, and the card hit me in the neck. So that's when I closed the door, and I locked the door. So he said, I started the engine, and he said, Carmen, we need to talk. And I said, I don't want to talk. We'll talk when I get home. I began to put the car in reverse. That's when he kicked the car door. And when he did that, I looked at him and I said, see, this is why I didn't get out of the car. Look at how you're acting in front of all these people. My landlord was outside. A few of my neighbors were outside. It was embarrassing. So when I drove off, there was a hole in the paint. So the rain, if I go to a car wash, anything that happens, the water gets inside of the door now, and the entire integrity of the door has been compromised. So I really just want the door to get fixed.
And this is your car, obviously, and that's why you're suing.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right, you have any estimates for repairs?
I have estimates.
Sir?
I have photos of the car that was damaged.
Sir, do you have a defense to not paying for the car?
No, Your Honor. Hold myself accountable for what I.
Now, you're suing for rental car fees as well as travel expenses.
Yes, sir.
Describe that.
In order to file this case, I live 500 miles away from Mike and Carmen. So when the case, when I talked to Mike, I talked to his insurance people. They refused to pay for it. I called a lawyer. I talked with him. He said, well, you have to go to small claims court, but you have to go in the area in the where this incident took place. That's 500 miles away from my house. I had to fly down to San Diego. I had to rent a car, use that car during the couple of days I was there to file the case, food, lodging, and to come back home.
Okay. It's at the discretion of the judge to allow such fees, and it is typically based on whether something is an unavoidable expense, and I'm going to deem it necessary because you're right, you wouldn't have been able to obtain justice had you not gone down there and incurred that expense. So, judgment for the plaintiff, $2,562. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. We still have love for each other. We're both great parents to our son, and this was just a matter that needed to get fixed, but it doesn't change the way we feel about each other as individuals.
I think the way we feel about each other is mutual, and I have nothing but respect and love for her. We do have a beautiful son together, and that's the most important thing we need to worry about.